Hi guys, Lindsay here with Storybook Family Farm. So today I want to talk to you guys about money. Not like, oh, we're broke, we need money, blah, 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 blah. Everybody knows that we're broke. Like, everybody's broke right now, pretty much. But I want to talk about the money aspect of homesteading because I've recently heard of different people saying that they were going to quit their job to homestead to make money. And I want to explain that that is not a possibility. Like, that is not how it works and stuff. Like, homesteading is it's super expensive to start homesteading. It is very expensive to do this sort of a lifestyle and stuff. The rewards are, free exercise and great tasting food, like that you don't have to go far for, and reducing like your carbon footprint. That is the big reward of homesteading. Like, it is much, much, much cheaper to go out and to buy your food at, Giant Eagle, Walmart, Kroger, any of the grocery stores that get the food from big, huge, massive mega farms or factory farms or anything of the sort. Homesteading is not free, okay? Some of our biggest financial bills every month is animal feed. Me and my wife, we homestead on 2 acres of land, and we raise ducks, chickens, turkeys, quail, geese. We also have rabbits and goats. So those are the animals that we raise for our homestead. We also have dogs and cats too, because not complete without doggies and kitties. But so those are the animals that we raise. We do everything on a very small scale. So the goats we have are the biggest animal that we have, and we raise the Nigerian dwarfs. So they do not eat very much. We also raise Bantam chickens because they are much cheaper to afford, much cheaper to feed. They don't require as much space. They're easier to house, and you can have a lot more of them in a small space eating the same thing. So to be crazy chicken ladies, it's fantastic. And then with the rabbits, we found that that's the best, cheapest, most regenerative way to raise meat, is with meat rabbits. And they're relatively cheap to raise too, except for when you're doing this to fully supply your family with food. Okay, so every month we spend a couple $100 just on animal food. Okay, so our grocery bill is like that big. Our feed bill, that big. Our feed bill is what a lot of times before we start homesteading, what our grocery bill would be. So we're not really saving any money. I recently heard of somebody saying that they were gonna, just quit their job and homestead because there's all these TV shows and stuff, okay? Like all the Alaska shows where they show that, you can just live off the land and all this stuff. But they're not showing the people going to get gas for their chainsaw. They're not showing how they're paying for this stuff. They're not showing anything like that. They're not showing how they had the money to buy a snowmobile or how to get, flights to get back in and out of their properties and all this stuff. They don't ever show that aspect of it because, that's not good TV. It totally ruins the whole romanticization of the show. Okay, so before we started homesteading, we, used to watch Homestead Rescue and, all these different homestead type shows, and we watched Alone, and we watched, all the different shows that like totally inspire you to go and live and be one with nature. And we thought, man, this is life here. Like, my wife wouldn't have to work so much. We could just hang out at home, just, totally be like hippies and just grow our own food, be one with the land, and live off nature and not ever have to go anywhere. It was great. The idea of it, fantastic, amazing even. Until we started doing it. And I was like, oh, well, we need more seeds. We need more of this. We need more of that. And then it came time to harvest the garden. Like, gardening is the cheapest way to homestead, okay? That is the absolute cheapest way once you get started. Okay, so seeds are expensive, but once you learn how to save seeds, then you don't have to buy seeds. But that takes time to learn how to save seeds and stuff. The most expensive part about homesteading and gardening, particularly gardening, is buying canning jars or some other way to preserve your harvest, because homesteading is great and all, and you get tons and tons and tons of produce in the summertime, but it's really, really nice to take it another step further and to be able to preserve some of your produce, so that way you can have it in the wintertime, you can have it in the fall, you can even have it in the summertime the next year. It's what makes it worthwhile to do. But it's expensive. the initial startup cost to get all of your jars, all of your seals, all of your stuff, all of your equipment, it is very expensive. So you have that initial cost. Once you buy the jars, and if you buy the reusable seals, then you don't have to keep buying them, but you're pretty much always in need of more jars. So it's kind of a cost that, yeah, you got a bunch, but you're gonna need more because you're always gonna need more. And then there's the aspect of chickens. So chickens, anybody will tell you, chickens are the gateway drug to homesteading. They are the gateway drug to, buying more animals. They're the first animal that most people want to start with because eggs are amazing. And you don't have to kill anything to get the eggs, because that's a part of homesteading that really freaks a lot of people out when they start, is they don't want anything to die. They don't want to kill anything. They don't want to butcher anything because it's too real. It's too intense. So you get chickens. The chicks, in most places are, anywhere from like $3 to $6 a chick. It's kind of an expensive startup cost. Then once you get the chicks, you got to get a coop made. Fencing is expensive. If you're going to have them in an enclosed run, then you gotta buy a lot of fencing. That gets expensive really fast. T-posts for the fencing, very expensive. But once you get chicks and stuff, if you get a regenerative breed, a breed that, can hatch their own eggs and do their own thing and stuff, you don't have to buy chicks again. Because you have a rooster, you have some hens, they'll lay fertilized eggs, and, you can either buy an incubator to hatch more out yourself for the next time, or, maybe your chicken will go broody and hatch them out herself. It's a win-win. But you still have the feed cost. You still have the every single week you got to get feed, or every month, or however often you do your feed runs and stuff. At this point right now, our chickens are one of our cheaper animals, and we're still spending probably about $50 a month to have chickens. The eggs don't hardly sell. Selling the eggs, you're not even making any money. The chickens aren't even paying for themselves with their egg production. Like, homesteading does not make money. It saves money if you are going to be going to a farmer's market and buying stuff that is the exact same quality of what you could raise yourself or what you could grow yourself. Because chicken eggs that are, truly free-ranged, that are truly outside, like truly like farm fresh chicken eggs and stuff, you can, people will buy them at $6 a dozen. Seems crazy to me. I wouldn't buy them at that rate. But if you actually calculated up how much money we have invested into our chickens and figured up, because chickens slow down in laying in the wintertime. Like, if we normally get a dozen a day, in the wintertime, chances are we get 1 or 2. Okay, so if you factored in all of the things to make it so that way having chickens was actually profitable, you'd probably have to sell them for $6 or $7 a dozen. And I don't know many people that want to buy $7 a dozen chicken eggs. But if you add in all the costs that I'm paying to raise the chickens because I enjoy them, I'm probably paying about $6 or $7 a dozen. It's insane. Like, there's this whole big illusion that living off the land is free and it's cheap, and that's what they did during the Great Depression and all this stuff. Yeah, they did, but somebody else owned the farm usually. Usually it was like multi-generational living on one farm, on one homestead, and somebody was working. Somebody was making the money to buy flour, to buy feed, and all this. Like, you can read in magazines and books and online how much land you require to be 100% self-sufficient on food and, all this stuff. And you can see all these beautiful little charts and diagrams and all of that stuff. But what they don't tell you is that 100% self-sufficient means that you're still buying animal feed. You're still buying hay if you have dairy. You're still buying pellets if you have rabbits. You're still buying corn if you have chickens. You're still buying feed. So the whole illusion of, you can do it all on an acre, it's not real. None of it is real. You can't do it all on an acre because you can't make enough animal food. It would require that entire acre just to feed your animals, but then if your whole acre is divided up and stuff to make animal feed, you can't have a garden because there's no room. You can't even have a little pasture for your animals and stuff. Like, these are some of the things that, we've realized since starting homesteading a few years ago, is that it's really expensive. We went into this because we didn't have money. We were very low income, very poor, prideful people. Okay, we were not getting any sort of assistance or anything like that to help with food. And that was one thing that I knew that I could do, is I could have a garden to help supplement our income, to make it so we had food coming in and stuff, so we didn't have to go to the store and buy it as much. But after we started, and especially once I started preserving food, I was like, man, all that tomato sauce was free. Like, all that spaghetti sauce was free. It just took, a little bit of work on my part. But my God, like, when you think about having to buy the jars, having to buy the seals, having to spend all the time, having to use electricity to can it and stuff, I was like, man, that's really, really not so free. And that's one thing that we've noticed with a lot of different aspects of homesteading. Sure, the goat gives us free milk when I give her grain, and we have to give them all hay every day, and we have to do all the work for the goats. Like, sure, she gives us milk, but what are we giving her? It's expensive. Every aspect of this lifestyle is expensive. So if you're thinking about homesteading, don't do it because it's going to save you money or even make you money. It is not a money maker. It is more so of a money pit. If you're trying to homestead because you want to have healthier food, you want to have food that is really, truly, honestly local, that is, you can assure that has nothing sprayed on it, nothing's been tampered with, there's never going to be shortages and stuff because you're doing it yourself. Like, sure, there might be crop failures and different things that don't do well, but usually on the year, if like tomatoes don't do really good, then like the green beans do really good. That's why you have to preserve it, so that way you have it, for when things go bad and stuff. It's inevitable. Some years are better for some vegetables, some years are better for other things. But don't get into homesteading thinking that you're going to save all this money, because you're not, especially if you're new. Now, once you get into it and you've been doing it for a good long while, you save a lot of money. Once you no longer have to buy jars, you no longer have to buy seeds, you no longer have to buy fencing for animals or for your garden. Once you get to that level and you've already spent all the thousands that you're going to need to spend to get everything in place, then you save money. But it's still costing money. It's not something that's, going to make you rich. It's not something that's going to even pay the bills. Our chickens, they don't make enough. They don't make enough eggs for us to sell the eggs to then pay for their feed so that we get free eggs. They're not able to earn their keep. We earn their keep. We work and do stuff to make money, so then that way they can still live here. We can still have the greatest of food and stuff. So if you're thinking about homesteading to make money, don't do it. Don't do it at all. If you're thinking about homesteading to save a little money, just know that there is a very high initial investment that you have to make if you do not have anything. Like, if you have no jars, you have no freezer space, you have nothing. It costs money to get started if you have any intention of preserving the food. If you are wanting to start homesteading because you want to take better care of the planet, do it. If you want to start homesteading so you can have better quality food that is raised in a way that you can control, absolutely do it. If you want to start homesteading because you're concerned of, things being out of stock, do it. If you want to start homesteading so that way you can have more time in nature and feel more connected, do it. But doing it for a financial reason, it's not a good idea, because it is hard work. When it's really super hot outside, when it's, 95 and the real feel is like 107 out, and you just step outside and you start dripping sweat, the last thing that you want to do is go to work. If you view this lifestyle as a job, as work, you're going to be miserable, because it is 24/7. If there's a problem with the animals, you get up in the middle of the night. If there's suddenly a bad storm, you have to go check on them. You have to make sure that everybody's provided for and that everybody's safe. When there's bad winter weather, you're out there all the time. Like, when it's -20 with the real feel and stuff, you're usually outside with the animals, making sure multiple times a day that their water isn't frozen, that they have access to warmth, and that they have access to shelter, that the wind didn't blow the barn door shut. You have to go out multiple times a day, whether it's really, really cold or really, really hot, to keep making sure that your animals are protected. It is a lot of work, this lifestyle is, and it is not free. That's why I urge you that if you're trying to do this to save money or make money, find something else. Find a side job. Find a hustle that you can do that makes a few extra bucks a month and stuff, because this lifestyle alone, it costs a lot. It costs a lot of time. It costs a lot of energy, and it also costs a lot of money. So if you're doing it make sure you're doing it for the right reasons. And if you're thinking about homesteading and you're trying to find the cheapest way to get the most bang for your buck, don't get animals. And I love every single animal that we have. Like, I absolutely adore having so many animals. I love listening to the roosters crow, and the ducks and the geese make a bunch of noise, and, you know, the goats yelling for me and stuff. I enjoy all of that. But the best bang for your buck is having a garden. A garden will teach you so many things and show you so many things, and it's the cheapest way to start. You don't have, you know, months and months and months where you're constantly feeding it and putting money into it to get nothing back. Whereas with animals, that's oftentimes the case and stuff. So that's it for today. If you're enjoying our content, please give this video a thumbs up. Leave a comment in the comment section below if you have anything that you'd like to add to it. Share it with your friends on social media if you so choose. And if you haven't already, please subscribe to help us grow. We greatly appreciate it. All right, thanks for watching. Have a good one, guys.